What's up guys, it's Tyrannosaurus2. Merry Christmas, and today we're going to be looking at paradox Pokemon that should exist. So paradox Pokemon were one of the coolest concepts ever introduced in Pokemon because it gives a story to Pokemon. You can tell a story. There's already hints of past and future with Pokemon, like with Magikarp. It says it used to be this super strong Pokemon in ancient days. Now it's a wimp, and that was back in Red and Blue days. So now Pokemon can officially tell these stories. We know all the paradox Pokemon in this game, but there's still the DLC that could come out, and it could be announced in just like a week, January 8th. Don't hold me to that. It's Pokemon Day. If it's earlier, it'll be early January. And in this DLC, there's the potential that more paradox Pokemon could be announced. We're so used to all these ones on screen. It'll be so cool to have more introduced. So I'll show you some examples and it'll just get you excited. Starting with Bulby Boy. Here's the first one, Burning Worm. How do you say that?
Worms.
Worms? Can I just say worms? Worms are these serpent-like dragons. So we have Burning Worm, which would be an ancient Charizard. So Fire Dragon, as you would expect. This mysterious Pokemon has some similarities to a creature in an old book introduced as Burning Worms. This thing is definitely not 9 feet tall. This thing would be like 20. Bulby Boy, my boy, you are talented. This is so cool. And it surprises me Game Freak didn't make a Charizard paradox Pokemon, considering it's the most popular, which makes me think they won't give up the fight. In the DLC, we might get a paradox Charizard. This would have to be a Charizard from a very long time ago if it's this different, because paradox Pokemon have the same shape for the most part. This thing looks like a very distant uncle to Charizard. It's really cool. Here's Iron Hunter, a future Zangoose, normal poison. Damn, who upgraded you with this, man? Nah, Turo goes to the future and he just sees this Terminator that kills him. This Pokemon resembles a mysterious cyborg. A Pokemon like this would be so creepy to go into Area 0 and see. If you're a Heath, like this man just ventures to have a good time and all these Terminators are down there. Oh, damn. Oh, that's so sick. Now, future Pokemon don't usually have alterations to their design, aside from like Miraidon. That's kind of interesting. But for the most part, it looks like future Pokemon try to look like their present forms. Oh, Primo's son, an ancient Phoenix raw Blaziken. That's raw from Egypt. There have been only one reported sighting of this Pokemon. It resembles a rock painting found in a cave that depicts an ancient deity. Damn, that means Blaziken back in the day was a freaking legendary, a god. Wow, fire flying, eh? Just can't escape these starter typings. Could you imagine? So the DLC comes out and we have these two version exclusive super paradox god Pokemon. And in one version, it's like this Phoenix Raw, and in the other version, it's some equivalent. This brings some good vibes. A hiker reported seeing something shiny coming out of the great crater of Paldea. She said the object lit up the night sky like a sun, but when it got closer, it looked more like a Pokemon. Alright, this is the best one so far. Ooh. So he don't even have his Blaziken arms anymore. When I first saw it, I thought they were gonna make a homage to Blaziken Latias, because they used to be the same Pokemon when Pokemon first made them before they split them. Iron Shadow, a future Greninja. Based off that name, what are you, an assassin? Dark Steel. Goodness, so instead of the giant shuriken on its back, this guy got a saw blade? He got a gun. Wow, you have a very cool approach to the future Pokemon. Reports of metallic figures were recorded in Medali City. They appear at night, jumping over buildings and sometimes scaring people. The suspicion is that it is Iron Shadow, an extremely fast creature that escaped from Area 0 with its unrivaled ninjutsu skill. This would be interesting to see how Pokemon would change the natural look of Greninja with the tail around its neck into something mechanical. These are what you kind of wanted the future Pokemon to be more of. Just a few alterations. Even if it's something like Hydreigon's or Iron Juggler's two hands having some kind of like beam thing in them, just to show some future tech, aside from the fact that they're made out of metal, you know? Oh god, Wild Pecs. You didn't have to go here. It's a Pidove. A normal dragon. This mysterious Pokemon has some similarities to a beast that an old book described as an ancestor of birds that lived in the dinosaur era. You're kidding me. So the common theory in real life is that birds that we have today are descendants of the giant dinosaurs. What are you trying to say here? This thing have like 600 BST despite being a Pidove? This is This is hilariously good because Pokemon does goofy things like this. According to reports, it has an aggressive temperament, but is too slow to be able to attack a person. It seems to always be flapping its wings, but it can't take off. All right, this this is a really good one. Iron synthesis. Oh my goodness. Wow. It is grass electric. It resembles a machine described as a futuristic automaton solar powerhouse. You'd imagine whoever is the scientist that changed all these Pokemon into these in the future built off what they are. So this Pokemon, who would normally use photosynthesis on its big petals, he found a different way to give it sun energy. I would bite. So we have the raw Phoenix in one game as the super legend, and then this future Meganium in the other game. These beings are described as tall and peaceful, uninterested in human existence. They remain wandering and always pointing its metallic petals towards the sun. That's a nice change of pace. A paradox Pokemon that's not out here killing. What do you guys think? Do you think wherever future Pokemon came from, that scientists did that to the Pokemon? Or do you think there's some weird thing at play where something turned them into mechanical Pokemon? Because in the current timeline, we have this third legendary. Like when talking about world-ending Pokemon like Necrozma when it takes the light, or Eternatus with the storm, it'd be a weird change of pace if it was like this Mecha Pokemon trying to turn everything into a cyberpunk world, replacing humans. Oh shoot. Venom Crest. Oh, it's a grass poison swampert. It is an old dinosaur that lived in symbiosis with poison plants. Wait, I'm stupid. That's a Sceptile. I fell for the fins on its head. So that tail, is that not a bit of its mega evolution coming out? That Christmas tree tail. According to reports, this being is very territorial and aggressive, spitting some kind of corrosive poison at anything that approaches. So it's based off this creature from Jurassic Park. You know, that's a very dinosaur-like design. So a lot of the past Pokemon do have a dinosaur story to them, don't they? I mean, there were other megalith-like Pokemon that existed back then. Here we go, Mastodon. I would think a Great Tusk is more based off this. Some of Pokemon's ancient designs have to do with dinosaurs like Fluttermane and Brute Bonnet, but they have talked about some other ancient creatures too. Here's one that'd be weird, if they made a giant ground sloth. See, back in the day, there used to be, you know, the small sloths that have long claws? Back in the day, there used to be 6-meter ones. That's 20 feet. And of course they died out because they're just a pile of food for people to eat. But imagine, like, let's say in the DLC, you go to a new part of Area Zero, and kind of like the Wailord in the Isle of Armor, there's this giant thing in your way, and you can't even see its face. It's just like a sloth sleeping sideways. I think that'd be cool. Bruh, 2-meter tall kangaroos. And then of course, saber-toothed tigers. They definitely have to make a saber-toothed tiger. Though I guess they kind of did with the leopard Pokemon. See, you think of woolly mammoths, they're not even just furry, they are woolly. They're sheeps. Alright, I have one more to show you guys, and it is a crazy one. The original dragon. Ain't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how things just work out? You need 2 words for a name? Original dragon. Bruh. Guess what? You could pull this sucker from the past, if we're speaking technically. Sada, if she knew just what coordinates, could send a Master Ball to the past and change Univin history by stealing it. I love how perfect this is. So it's a pure dragon type, because you would think you make those elements by taking stuff out of the dragon. Kind of like if you have light, like the pure white, it's when you start taking like blue away that it starts to look red. It is a powerful design. It's got the Reshiram features and the Zekrom features. A sequence of images taken by a satellite recently caught the attention of scientists around the world. Yes, it would. Are you kidding me if Sada pulled this thing out? The record seems to depict a dragon Pokemon emerging from the great crater of Paldea. But what is the most striking is that the creature resembles the 3 legendary Pokemon from Unova. Tell me that's not the most perfect thing ever. Original Dragon Paradox Pokemon. Knowing Game Freak, if this thing existed, they would screw up its BST. If Game Freak was real, they would give this thing like 710 BST at a minimum, just so it's under Arceus. But you don't have to have Arceus as the cap. Arceus's real base stats would be infinite. Its ability would probably power up like the 5 elements: grass, ground, fire, ice, electric. Just to show there was more there when they split into 3 dragons. Alright, shank that like button, guys. Let me know your thoughts. And you make a concept in the comments for a cool Paradox Pokemon. We're very close to January 8th. Let's see what the DLC announces, if that ends up being the date. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Shout out to my boy Bulby Boy, of course. Give him a check, give him a follow. He is very underrated. Let him know I sent you.